back like the seats of an 86 Delta 88 coupe on D's and Bones, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Going live in a minute, Blizzard King. This is Winter Dinner Spurling Podcast. You are rocking with the realest black men represented. Ain't no lies, cause we winning. Catching flies, ain't no feelings. Uncle D, we the villain, baby. We just left the village, baby. Now we in them villas, baby. Dinner Spurling Podcast. Tuning in, we get it, baby. You can hate the player, hate the game. We love all you haters. Hate watch, hate watch. Calling lovely ladies. Hands on your knees, you can thank us later. We snatching the crowns off of queens, we obliterate them. Tell the truth, shame the devil, they trying to eliminate us. You begging the sipping haters, peeling layers off of haters. Whoa, Southern Cadillac music like Outkast. Ain't jumping without bass, Tennis Spurling Podcast. Whoa, Southern Cadillac music like Outkast. Ain't jumping without bass, Tennis Spurling Podcast. Whoa.
We have to clean up what's going on in our house before we do anything else. Look, you might not like it, but that's still who we are. That exuberance, that flamboyantness, that's the black man. And below, I see athleticism, I see timing, I see soul. I promise you, if that was a white man out there dancing like that, moving and had that sort of timing, you all would be okay with it. And I'm telling you, it's okay to be okay with it. It's appropriate. He is at the African-American graduation. He's getting his AA degree. That boy is probably no more than 19, 20 years old. Coming from where he came from, the same place I came from. If I could dance like that, I might do it now.
Puerto Rican man or Dominican man?
Have pride in yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. That's the other thing. Don't let this world keep kicking you and making you feel like you're not good enough. You plenty. I don't care if you're 10 pounds, 50 pounds overweight, 30 pounds underweight. You don't make enough money. You make too much money. You're too tall. You're too short. You're perfect the way you are. And I want you brothers to begin to take that. A lot of you guys did not have father figures to reinforce these things in you. You don't have that manly fatherly love supporting you in the back of your head saying, son, you can go out there. The world is yours. I'm not your father's, but I love you like I'm your own uncle. We all one people. And so I'm telling you, brothers, I love you as a person that most people would say is successful. I'm telling you, the opportunity is out there. And most of you guys are doing much better than I was at your age. You're more confident. You got the world, you got the benefit of people like me who've made mistakes. And I want to see you ball. That's it. Yeah. What's up? Welcome, everybody. This is Dennis Spurling, also known as the Blizzard King, and also known as Uncle D, known affectionately as Uncle D to the fellas out there, the young fellas out there, man. And I love coming in here, chopping it up with you guys, hanging out, having a good time, man, talking about real life issues and bringing it on home, man, trying to lead the world and make the world make you fellas more effective in your decision making. Again, we missed that masculinity training, many of us. So that's what we're doing here. Shout out to my man Black Wall Street. Big up to you. Shout out to Terrell Winning. Shout out to you. Shout out to Hootsy. Shout out to all my guys in the chat room, man. Let's go ahead and do what we need to do today. The goal tonight, man, y'all give me 30 super chats, 30, and I'll be ready. Let me see. Give me that dirty 30. All right. So we're going to get straight into this tonight. Today, wherever we at, man, around the world, we are talking about how you will thrive with a traditional wife or endure chaos with a boss babe. Okay. You will thrive with a traditional wife, or you will endure chaos with a boss babe. You understand me? All right. So welcome, gentlemen. And we're diving into a crucial topic. Somebody type money in the chat room because that's the overarching themes. Money, power, success. You know, they told us we need civil rights. We got that. They told us we need freedom. We got that. But come to find out, we need some money. We need some power and we need some success. And we need a whole lot of it. Because at the end of the day, the system that we're fighting against is driven by money. And unfortunately for us, we don't have what we need. So let's go ahead and start counting our checks. Let's start getting our money up. Let's start stacking our bread. But more importantly, let's consider legacy, because legacy is what's going to help you hold on to it. All right. So what we're going to do today, fellas, on our money series, and that's what we on. We on this money train. Somebody type money train in the chat room. Okay. We're going to talk about the crucial topic. And big shout out to Hootsy, man. We need 29 more super chats, man. Let me get 29 more super chats. And thank you so much for being the first one in. The Cash App is open also. But let me go and get to this thing, maybe. I'm excited about this one. This is crucial. It's historic. We've been talking a lot about what you don't want, but now what is it that a man, an up-and-coming man, needs to understand about the impact of the choice in a wife as to your pursuit of wealth, power, and legacy? And we're going to explore this through the lens of one of the most iconic characters in cinematic history. Some say that this is the greatest movie of all time, and we're talking about the Godfather trilogy. And the character, an archetype, Michael Corleone, okay? But this isn't just about a movie. It's about real life lessons that can make or break your success. And the reason I choose this popular movie, because I know everybody's watching it. Everybody has watched it. I try to watch it at least once a year, the whole trilogy, because I pick up new things every time. And it's just a very interesting piece of art. But nevertheless, we're going to be discussing, or we'll be dissecting, the tragic downfall of this powerful, successful man and how his choice in wives, Kay Adams, played a pivotal role in that downfall. Now, this isn't just about love or relationships. It's about understanding the deep-rooted social and racial dynamics that influence his decision and how those dynamics ultimately led to his undoing. Shout out to my man Thomas Dickinson. We dropping in the tray. Yeah, drop it in the tray. We're going to need another 28 super chats. All right, we need another 28 super chats. Y'all make it happen. So here's the thing. If you haven't watched this movie, man, use this as an opportunity to check this movie out. You really have to, and when you need to. It's a great piece of art. Okay, now Michael's choice in the woman he married, a white woman named Kay, wasn't just a personal decision. It was influenced by a desire to assimilate into a social hierarchy that viewed his Italian roots as inferior. Now, what I want you to do, every time I say Italian, everybody in the chat room, whenever I say Italian, I want you to say black. Okay? Every time I say Italian, I want you to say black. So in your mind, when I say Italian, I'm talking to you brothers. We're talking about black. So if I read this again, okay, Michael's choice to marry Kay wasn't just a personal decision. It was influenced by his desire to assimilate into a social hierarchy that viewed his black roots as inferior. And a lot of us are dealing with that. We think just because once we made it, we need to go get ourselves, basically get ourselves a white woman or a non-black woman. Even if that woman is inferior, we feel like that's a come up. And it was a move to validate his worth in society, and that often looked down on black men or looked down on men like him as an Italian. But as we'll see, this choice came with devastating consequences. Now, we're going to break down some critical lessons every up-and-coming black man can learn from this story, lessons that will help you navigate on your path to power. Somebody type power in the chat room, and ensure that you don't fall into the same traps. From understanding the importance of aligning your relationships with your values to recognizing the dangers of letting social pressures dictate your choices. We're going to cover it all. So stick with me as we unpack this lesson, because the woman you choose to stand by your side can either elevate you to greatness or drag you down into ruin. And this story about this powerful man, albeit fictitious, is a cautionary tale. And if you're serious about building and protecting your wealth and legacy, you need to hear this. Okay. So here's the thing. Let's go ahead and, just get on in there. The first thing I want you to understand, and again, we need 28 more super chats. There are some important lessons about intersection. Shout out to my man Jerome. Thank you for the cash app. The intersection of cultural awareness, personal relationships, and the pursuit of wealth, power, and status. Drawing parallels between the experiences of real life mob figures, real life boss guys. We talked about Sam Ace Rothstein from Casino, and the real life mobsters such as Benny Bugsy Siegel and Meyer Lansky. Now, the importance of cultural awareness and compatibility when you're a man on the rise, especially in environments where wealth, power, and influence are at stake. The type of woman you choose to stand by your side it's not just a personal decision, it's a strategic one. Your wife can either be an asset or a liability. And the key is understanding the cultural dynamics at play and how they can impact your relationship and, by extension, your success. In the case of Sam Rothstein and Benny Siegel, their downfall can be traced back to their choices in women who, although attractive and exciting, were ultimately incompatible with their lifestyles and ambitions. They wanted hot girls and they need trad wives. You understand? They wanted a twerker and they needed a worker. You feel me? Yeah, like some of you all. They wanted a boss chick and they needed a house chick. See, both Rothstein and Siegel became entangled with women who didn't share their cultural values or long-term goals. And this lack of alignment proves disastrous, as these women were more interested in material benefits and the excitement of their man's criminal activity, or basically the life he could provide, than building a stable, supportive relationship. Rothstein's obsession with Jerry McGee and Siegel's infatuation with Virginia Hill blinded them to the reality that these women were not equipped to handle demands of their high-stakes lives. They lacked the cultural and emotional grounding necessary to navigate the complexities of being involved with powerful men in big industry, in big money-making industries. In both cases, these women were more interested in living a glamorous lifestyle than supporting their man his long-term success. Now, Meyer Lansky, and for you guys who don't know Meyer Lansky, he lived a long time, a long, quiet life, and he was one of the most successful, enduring bosses, organized crime figures, and he made a different choice. Lansky married a traditional Jewish woman who understood and respected the cultural and familial values that Lansky held here. He was Jewish himself. And so this choice wasn't about cultural compatibility. It was about ensuring that his private life remained stable and insulated from the chaos of his professional endeavors. Now, Lansky was acutely aware of the importance of keeping his business life separate from his personal life. And he understood that a woman who shared his cultural background and values would be less likely to become a liability. By choosing a woman who was not only culturally aligned, but also discreet. Let me say that word again, discreet. If you have a woman who has more social media than you do, she's not discreet. And you need to be able to keep your business out of the street. I need 28 more super chats. And also supportive. Lansky was able to maintain a stable home life. And so because his home life was stable, his home life didn't interfere with his business dealings. And this decision was crucial to his ability to manage his vast operations without the distractions and risks that plagued these other men. So, here's the thing, fam. When you're aiming for success in high stakes environments, choosing a woman who shares your cultural values and long term goals is crucial. Okay? This compatibility ensures that your woman understands your life and can provide the support you need without becoming a liability. Women who are primarily attracted to wealth, power, and excitement are more likely to become distractions. And these relationships, and as I said, these relationships can be volatile and may ultimately undermine your success. Instead, you need to get yourself a woman who's interested in building a life with you based on mutual respect and shared values. Don't fall into the trap of idolizing women based on her appearance or the excitement she brings to your life. Rothstein, Siegel, and many of you made that mistake by ignoring red flags. And because of that, or because you were captivated by these women, and your lack of objectivity has led you to make what you have determined to be a poor decision, and it has far-reaching consequences. And many of you all are still suffering from those consequences. So be like Lansky. Successful men should strive to keep their professional and their personal lives separate. And this separation helps to protect your personal life from the pressures associated with your career. A woman who understands and respects this boundary is invaluable, because you're going to need a woman. I don't care what these fools say. You're going to need a woman. And if you're going to have a woman, you're going to need a woman who's stable. We need to understand that in the pursuit of wealth and power, it's easy to get caught up in short-term pleasures and distractions. However, maintaining focus on long-term goals is essential. Your choice of a woman should reflect that focus. Supportive, culturally aligned. A woman like that can help you stay grounded and committed to your vision. Relationships with women who have a history of involvement and unstable individuals, they're high risk. And these women are often drawn to lifestyles rather than men, and their presence can bring unnecessary risk to your career. Now, here's the thing. We're going to break down the story of Kay Corleone, and we're going to talk about it in some detail. But what I need y'all to do is hang in there. I'm going to need 28 more super chats. I'm going to be right back. Y'all hit the #1 button. Shout out to the late, great Kevin Samuels.
I want to see you win. And I put pressure on us men to understand how we did not get our masculinity training. And we've been doing our work, okay? But now it's time for you ladies to understand you're going to have to bet on us like you want us to bet on you. I talked to several men this week. I don't just get on here and talk shit. I have men I call around the world and I ask, what do you think about this concept? Level set me. Shout out to brother Dennis Spurling. Dennis, I'm not going to get, well, I don't want to tell people's business, but I'm going to tell you, high value men retire their women or make them come work for them. So ladies, what is it going to take for you to free yourself? Because you and I both know you're dying at these jobs. You're in a toxic.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. So let's just go ahead and get right in it. Today we're breaking down the carry. Shout out to my man Mark the Freelancer. Thank you for the cash app. We need some more super chats, man. Y'all go ahead and make it happen. But Corleone, when we talk about the Corleone family, we talk about the Godfather trilogy, right? It's crucial to understand the women who are often play a secondary role, but at the end of the day, the whole movie revolves around the women. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break, just like any home life, just like any family life. So what we're going to do at this point, we're going to discuss Kay Corleone. She is the prototype naive, disloyal, idealistic liability of a woman. Okay. And from The Godfather, we see her as a cautionary tale for men who want to have money, power, and wealth, money, power, and influence, a legacy. If you have a legacy to protect, the empire was already built, and she came in, this naive, idealistic, waspy woman whose disloyalty and modern views ultimately make her a liability to the star of the show, to the high value man, high powered man, Michael Corleone's legacy. See, this is the type of woman you need to be wary of. She's the kind who can bring nothing but trouble if you're not careful. See, this type of woman embodies the dangers of getting involved with a modern woman, a modern feminist who doesn't align with your values or respect your authority. She's naive and idealistic, thinking that love could somehow transcend the brutal realities of this man's world. She walked into the marriage with her eyes half closed, believing that Michael would leave his life of crime, leave his family behind just because they got married. That's the kind of naivete that's a liability for a man on the up and coming. She knew what you did for a living. And I'm not even talking about the guys who commit crime. I'm talking about you, a lawyer, you're a doctor, you're gonna be out late. Look at Judge. Look at the judge. I forget the brother's name. I can't. What's the brother's name, man? From Detroit. What's his name? Judge Mathis. The feminist came out in her. And after 40 years, she's leaving this man and destroying the empire. So we see it playing out all the time. But it doesn't stop there. In this particular situation, Kay Corleone was also a non-traditional woman for her time, pursuing higher education and demanding to have opinions in Michael's business matters. This man is a straight up killer. And she wants to have opinions about what he does. This modern feminist mindset, while seemingly empowering, clashed directly with the world Michael operated in. She didn't fully understand the gravity of his empire, yet she insisted on inserting herself into decisions that were far beyond her grasp, and that's a recipe for disaster. Some of you all are businessmen. You have people that you work with, and you have a wife or a woman that feels that she can interject herself into your business. I'm talking legit businesses. She wants to tell you who you should hire, who you should deal with, who she doesn't like at your office. That's none of her business. But she's interjecting herself in that. She's overstepping her bounds, coming in with a sledgehammer instead of a scalpel. And let's not forget how sexually permissive or promiscuous Kay was. The relationships before she got with Michael, her modern views on sexuality only added to the tension. Remember, she was laid up in the hotel with Michael Corleone for weeks at a time, and he was in there banging her when his daddy got shot. In a world where loyalty and discernment are paramount, a woman who doesn't uphold these values is a serious threat to your legacy, even after knowing about Corleone's family and their criminal empire. This woman still clung to the illusion that Michael might one day go legit. She was unwilling to accept the reality of his world, and that denial led to a constant conflict. See, a man who is up and coming, a powerful man, a successful man, a man who's on his way up, needs a woman who understands and accepts his world. If that means he needs to work from 8 in the morning to 12 o'clock at night and be gone on the weekends and be gone during the week, that's his world. You don't need someone who lives in denial or pressures him to change his ways that undermine his mission. See, this woman's moralistic and judgmental attitude was another red flag. She enjoyed the luxury and the benefits of being with this man, but she never hesitated to condemn him for his actions. She wanted to live the high life, but she couldn't reconcile it with the reality that the life was provided. And that kind of hypocrisy is toxic and can undermine your authority and leadership. And the ultimate betrayal. Remember, secretly, she went out and secretly aborted this man's child. That's a direct attack on his legacy. And she did it without his knowledge or his consent. And this act of disloyalty showed her complete disregard for the values that this high value, powerful man held dear. Family. Somebody type family first in the chat room. A woman who acts in direct opposition to your wishes, especially concerning something as significant as your lineage, she is never to be trusted. She is your enemy. And you need to keep that in mind. When we talk about legacy, we talk about family first. We talk about your children. That's the most important thing you put forth. That's your real legacy. So in the end, this modern feminist, Kay Corleone, and her views and actions made her a liability to Michael, this high-value man. Her demands to be involved in his business, even her pursuit of higher education, her sexually permissive behavior, her moralistic judgment, all pointed to a woman who was completely out of step with traditional values necessary to support a man of power and influence. If you're a man and you're making money and you're on your way up, you need to avoid women like Kay at all costs. Despite their outward charm, despite their intellect, they bring nothing but conflict. They bring division and ultimately betrayal. Don't make the same mistake that so many other high-value men, successful men, rich men did. Lead with your character. Set those clear boundaries and choose a woman who elevates rather than undermines your legacy and life. Let's dive into Kay Corleone's role as an outsider in Michael's world. Her naivete, her unrealistic expectation, her moralistic judgment, all serve as warning signs for high-value men. We discuss how these traits can destroy not just your relationships, but everything you work for. It's about protecting your future and making sure you don't let a woman like that derail everything you built. Now, who is Kay? Well, Mario Puzo painted a very complicated person. Her name was Catherine Adams, and she's a complex character. And she's portrayed by an actress named Diane Keaton. Wonderful job, by the way. But as far as the character, her background, actions, and character traits make her intriguing. She's an intriguing figure, particularly in contrast to the traditional values of the Corleone family. So what's a little bit about her backgrounds? Well, unlike the rest of those folks, she's a well-to-do white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, which means WASP family, which already sets her apart from the traditional Italian-American family and the values of the Corleone family. I need you to keep in mind that the Italians hold the record for being the largest number of people lynched at the same time in Louisiana, in New Orleans. When they got here, they were very dark. The Moors invaded Sicily and some parts of Italy. So those people were dark. Even though they considered themselves white, now they were dark and they suffer from racism. And so they suffer from the same type of anti people of color racism that everybody else suffered. But then they got their privilege card as of the last, 10, 20, 30 years. But nevertheless, They had to deal with something that black people had understand, and that's racial prejudice. Her upbringing, on the other hand, as a white woman in the Northeast, she was brought up in privilege. A Protestant environment contributed to her more modern and feminist outlook on life. Kay is independent. She's educated. Somebody type strong, independent, and educated in the chat room. And she holds views that are progressive even for that time. And this is evident in her pursuit of higher education at Dartmouth, where they met, and her desire to involve herself in Michael's life and his decisions, overstepping boundaries, thinking she knows more than him, even when it comes to business, a business she's never even been privy to. Imagine the arrogance of trying to step into something that you've never even been in that world. Now, how do we spot a woman with a modern feminist mindset? Well, she's going to show a strong desire to be autonomous. And there's going to be an insistence on having her voice heard in all matters, even those that may traditionally be outside of her sphere. Her opinions on gender roles, education, and involvement in her man's affairs will likely reflect her modern views. Now, what about this woman's moral compass? That's heavily influenced by her Protestant background, which often clashes with the more pragmatic, morally flexible world of the Corleones. Some of you all got some women that are holier than thou. Now, you was just busting her down from the back, but then as soon as you get married, right, she wants to get holier than thou. And that's going to clash with the realities of your life. Now, throughout this series, Kay is depicted as someone who struggles to reconcile her moral beliefs with the reality of Michael's criminal activities. Her decisions to leave Michael and take the children is fueled by her moral judgment of his lifestyle. And she openly condemns the violence and the corruption that define his world. And she does it in front of people. Now, this type of woman who takes this moralistic stance and is so quick to judge her man's actions while still enjoying the benefits of the lifestyle he provides, that type of woman is displaying the same type of traits that this woman did. She thinks she's moral, this moral superiority that she has. It creates tension and conflict, especially when it comes to across as hypocritical. So there it is again. We talk about tension and conflict, right? There it is. What's another one we dealing with? Her unwillingness to accept reality. She's delusional. Somebody type delusional in the chat room. This woman is initially attracted to this man based on his charm and perceived goodness, but she remained in denial about the true nature of who he was. Despite knowing that this man is deeply involved in organized crime, she clings to the hope that he will change. And this denial of reality culminates in her decision to abort their son, believing in it to be the only way to break the cycle of violence. Now check this out. You guys meet some women, they know who you are, they know how you are. And then the first thing they want to do is change you. That's the type of woman that's unwilling to accept reality of who you are and your career. Instead, she lives in a state of denial, and she exhibits behavior like this woman. She's constantly pushing you to change. And that unrealistic pressure on you to conform to her ideals. So she basically is telling you what you should do. Rather than accepting you for who you are, you need to leave her alone. The other thing, this woman was disloyal and untrustworthy. And I'm not talking about a disloyal where she's allowing other men to have access to her body. Her biggest disloyalty comes when she secretly aborts her unborn son. And that directly opposes what this man stands for, his desire to have more children and continue his legacy. She betrayed the whole family because that child wasn't just his, that belonged to his father. That was his father's grandson, his mother's grandson. That was his brother's nephew, his sister's nephew, his children's brother or sibling. That's a betrayal. And this act of betrayal is a clear indication of her lack of alignment with Michael's values and her willingness to take drastic measures against his wishes. It demonstrates a fundamental disconnect between her priorities and those of her husband. And some of you all are dealing with that right now. You trying to save, she trying to spend. You trying to keep your family intact, she running off to see what her other extended family is doing. On the holidays, you got to split between your household and somebody else's household that you may or may not like just because they're related to her. No. Now, how do you spot a disloyal and untrustworthy woman? A woman who takes significant actions without her man's knowledge or consent. Especially concerning matters that are important to family and legacy. She's not a trustworthy woman. And this kind of behavior is a major red flag for any man who needs a partner to support his goals and respects his decisions. Here's another thing. Her sexual promiscuousness, her permissiveness. And I'm not saying she banged a whole lot of dudes, but the sexual permissiveness. While this trait is less overtly depicted in Kay's character, her willingness to engage in a relationship with Michael, despite her knowledge of his criminal background and her past relationships, suggests a sexual permissiveness that contrasts with more traditional values. And Kay's choices reflect a modern approach to relationship and sexuality where she prioritizes her own desires and beliefs over traditional expectations of loyalty and purity. A woman who demonstrates a more modern or casual approach to relationships, particularly if she prioritizes her independence and personal beliefs over traditional values, she exhibits these characteristics. So what I'm saying is, if you dating a chick and she got 3 or 4 or 5 baby daddies, no, she's not going to be a good wife for you if you're an up and coming man. She's too sexually permissive. If she got 2 or 3 baby daddies, how many men have entered into her body? You understand? This woman is an archetype. Let's cut through the niceties. Kay Adams Corleone from the Godfather trilogy is a type of woman. She's a type you should avoid like a plague. She's a textbook example. And shout out to my man, Cody Marshall. We need 27 more super chats. She's a textbook example of a hypocrite who will suck the life out of your power, influence, and success, leaving you in ruins. This type of woman won't just undermine you, she'll damn near destroy you. And here's the kicker. She did it all the while pretending to be innocent and righteous, just like many of the broads y'all dealing with. Let's not sugarcoat this. This woman knew exactly what she was getting into from day one. At the wedding in The Godfather, she was fully briefed about this man's family and their criminal empire, and she wasn't some naive girl who stumbled into the wrong crowd. No, she made a conscious decision to stay. Why? Because she wanted the status. She wanted the wealth and the power that came with being with Mrs. Michael Corleone. She was more than just happy. She was more than happy to bask in the luxury, the protection and the influence that this family provided. But here's where the hypocrisy rears its ugly head. As Michael's power grew, the darker realities of his empire became unavoidable. Kay started to play the moral card. She began judging him, shaming him for the very actions that she allowed him to live, that allowed her to live like royalty. And this is the ultimate double standard, enjoying all the perks while sneering at the source. That's what y'all women are doing. She wants the money, she likes the lifestyle, but she has a problem with the hours you keep and the work you have to do and the stress you come home with. That's the kind of hypocrisy that tears a man apart and makes a woman like Kay a ticking time bomb in a man's life. As this man expanded his empire, her sanctimonious attitude only grew stronger. She had the audacity to condemn him for his actions that kept their cushy life intact. She wanted the money, she wanted the power, she wanted the influence, but she couldn't stomach the reality of what came with it. Her constant moral judgment drove a wedge between them, making it more of a liability than a relationship. Instead of standing by her man and supporting him as the head of the house, she became a thorn in his side, constantly undermining his authority and destabilizing the very foundation of the empire. And let's not forget the ultimate betrayal, and I'm going to keep bringing it up. She aborted this man's child. And it was a calculated move designed to strike at the very heart of his legacy. She did it on purpose because she wanted to hurt him. It was a direct assault on everything that man had worked for. And the timing couldn't have been more devastating. Because at the time, this man was in the middle of trying to transition his family's business from crime to legitimate, a critical moment in his life, right when he needed her to be there for him. She did the most heinous betrayal she could. See, it wasn't just a rejection of that little baby that was unborn. It was a rejection of his entire mission and purpose. It was unforgivable. It was an unforgivable betrayal that shattered this man's dreams for a legitimate legacy. And her actions cut deep, deeper than any enemy could. And it left scars with this man that lasted his whole life. So here's the harsh truth, fellas. Shout out to my man Hootsy. Good looking out. I need another 26 super chats. K actions throughout this whole thing is a masterclass in hypocrisy and betrayal. She knew what Michael's world was about. She chose to enjoy it and then turned around and spit on it when it suited her. That's a red flag for men who want power to take a look at. Now, by contrast, we're going to talk about Apollonia, Vitali Corleone. You know who I'm talking about? That was that pretty little Italian girl that he saw. And remember that? She's the traditional wife, not the feminist. She's the traditional wife. And that's why we're here today. We need to find some of these. She was traditional. She was loyal. She was respectful. She was pure. She is everything that these modern day lovely ladies are not. If I were to characterize Apollonia from The Godfather, I tell you straight up that she's the blueprint for the kind of traditional wife that any successful man or man who wants to be successful should be seeking out. She embodies traditional values with unwavering loyalty, respect, and purity. Let me walk y'all through this and why. She embodies the values and qualities that are essential in a woman who's going to stand by your side and support your legacy. Apollonia was an epitome of traditional woman. She deeply rooted in her cultural values. From the moment she met Michael, you can see that she respects the traditional roles and expectations that her society has set. A perfect example was when Michael asked her father for permission to court her. Apollonia doesn't question the process. Daddy, I can date who I want to date. You can't tell me what to do. No, she respects her father's authority and the traditions that kept her family structure strong. She's not trying to disrupt the norms. She's embracing them. And this is the key, fellas. The kind of respect for tradition is what maintains harmony and stability in your life. It's the kind of trait that every man who wants to have something and wants to maintain something should look for in his drive. Because the opposite of tradition is chaos. When a woman says she's non-traditional, that means she's chaotic because you don't know what's going to happen. The other thing I want to talk about is how respectful and submissive this woman was, or cooperative, if you will. She never challenges Michael's questions in his decision. She knows her roles and plays it well. When Michael decided they needed to move to a safer location after receiving threats, Apollonia, she didn't resist. The traditional wife is not going to question his judgment. She trusts his leadership completely. No back talk. Somebody type no back talk in the chat room. That's the kind of respect and willingness to follow your lead that keeps a relationship solid. You know I'm responsible for her, man. She followed my lead. And for a man with significant power and responsibilities, you need a woman who's going to support your decisions, not challenge them at every turn. Apollonia's loyalty to Michael was rock solid. Despite the dangers around him, she remained committed to him and the life they were building together. Even when Michael opens up about the danger of his world, she stays by his side. Contrast that with Kay, the feminist Corleone, and her betrayal. You see why loyalty and trustworthiness are non-negotiable traits. A man who is on his way up, or a man who has established himself, he needs a woman who's got his back no matter what, all the way 100%, 10 toes down. Apollonia never wavers. And that's exactly the kind of woman you won't you won't threaten your peace of mind or your legacy with. Look, what I love about that woman, what I loved about Apollonia, and shout out to my man Steph. Cam, thank you so much for the cash app. I love her character. Is her so simple. She was the simplicity of this woman, her purity. She wasn't driven by materialism or ambition or desire to control. Wouldn't you love to have a woman who didn't want to control every situation that you're dealing with? Look at these modern women. That's all they want to do. Materialistic, ambitious, and desire to control. They might as well be the men. But back to the story, let's take, for example, her joy in learning to drive the car that Mike gives her. This highlights her innocence and her contentment with the simple pleasures in life. She fulfilled, she did what she had to do for Mike. She didn't complicate the relationship with unnecessary demands and ambitions. Shout out to my man, Terrell Winter. We need another 25 super chats. She fulfilled her role as Michael's wife, and she didn't complicate the relationship with unnecessary crap. And this is the kind of simplicity and purity that every man who wants to have money and power and maintain it should look for. You better leave them hot chicks alone. And with hot girl summer, you better stay in the house till winter. You need the type of woman that's going to help maintain, that helps maintain a relationship that's free from conflict and distraction. So we're talking about this traditional, loyal, and supportive wife that every high-value man should desire or aspire to find. Her respect for Michael's authority, her unwavering loyalty, her simplicity, all of that make her an asset, not a liability. And if you're serious about maintaining your success and protecting your legacy, you need to be seeking out a woman who embodies these qualities, fellas. That's how you build a strong, stable, and enduring relationship that supports your journey to the top. Don't settle for anything less. Now, how do we recognize and confirm these traits in a woman? You need a woman who observes respect and has respect for tradition. A man can recognize a traditional woman like Apollonia by observing how she interacts with her family and respect her cultural norms. If she seeks her family's approval and follows traditional courtship practice, of course, you know that. That's a strong indication of her adherence to traditional values. Does she cook on Thanksgiving, cook on Christmas? Is she wrapping presents? Does she wake up and cook breakfast in the morning? Does she cook dinner? Does she cook lunch? Do you have to ask, or does she do this on her own? You understand? These are telltale signs. How do you assess her cooperativeness, her submissiveness of you, and respect for a man? A woman who respects her man's leadership without challenging his decisions inappropriately is someone who understands her role in the relationship. She was willing to follow this man's lead even in dangerous situations. That showcases her respect and trust for his authority. Now, how do you evaluate that loyalty? Loyalty is demonstrated through actions. Let me say that again. Loyalty is demonstrated through actions, not just words. Her decision to stay with her man, despite the problems that they had, the danger that they were in, her unwavering support for him, that confirmed her loyalty. A man should look for consistent behavior that shows a woman's commitment, even when circumstances are challenging. Every time things go bad, your gal talking about going back to live with her sister, her mama. Things get bad, she comparing you to what her baby daddy did. Her daddy used to do. Always, my daddy did that. She's an unloyal woman. She's looking for a way out. Send her to the door. Another thing is noticing simplicity and contentment. Is she happy? Does she find joy in the simple pleasures? Or does she seek material wealth as a primary goal? Likely, because if she is simple, she's probably going to make a strong, stable relationship with you. And I keep emphasizing the fact that this woman was just happy to learn how to drive. So for you fellas who are seeking a woman who aligns with traditional values, recognizing and confirming these traits through careful observation, that's crucial. You want a woman whose character serves as a reminder of the importance of the wife who supports you, rather than undermines a man's goals and responsibilities. Look. Let's hypothesize for a minute. Let's hypothesize for a minute. Let's just assess this. And we've all seen The Godfather. And more importantly, we all know men who've been made or broken by these women. What would have happened if Michael Corleone had remained with this traditional woman and taken her back to America? What would his life would have been like? What would his rise to power would have been like? Would he been able to maintain his power? I think it would have been significantly different. The woman he had, Apollonia, embodied the qualities of a traditional and loyal, supportive wife, which would have reinforced Michael's position both within his family and in the larger world that he lived in. Stability and family bonds. Number one, her traditional values would have provided him, this high-value man, with a stable and supportive home life, which is crucial for a man in his position. Unlike that modern feminist Kay that he had, who constantly questioned his decisions and created tension within the family and undermined him in front of people, his woman would have fully accepted her role as his wife. She would have respected his authority and trusted his judgment, creating an environment of harmony and unity within the household. And this stability would have allowed Michael to focus more on his business and his rise to power without distractions and conflicts that Kay brought into his life. Look, by reinforcing those family bonds That traditional wife would have also strengthened his ties to his Sicilian roots. Remember, when I say Sicilian, I'm also talking about Italian, and more importantly, I'm talking about Black. A traditional woman is going to reinforce your roots and your traditions, which are a foundation to your family's identity. That traditional woman, her deep understanding of their culture and their values would have helped to maintain the respect and loyalty of his allies. Your friends see you, yeah, man, your wife cooking turkeys and oh, that's nice, man. She taking care of the kids, she cooking. Nothing but respect. This cultural continuity would have been the source of strength as this high value man navigated the treacherous world that he lived in. As a traditional woman would have been focused on raising the children, shout out to Lock Vegas. We need another 24 super chats. As this traditional woman, she's going to be focused on the babies. She's going to be focusing on the legacy. Unlike that strong modern feminist Kay, who tried to distance herself from her children because of the darker aspects of her man's world, Apollonia would embrace it. She would have taught her children, especially her son, who ended up being a flaming rainbow rider, singing in an opera, to honor their father and the family's tradition, and preparing him to take the place within the family business or become a lawyer, as Michael wanted. If Apollonia had been the mother of Michael's children, their upbringing would have been steeped in values of loyalty, respect, and family honor. That high value man's son would have been raised with a deep understanding of his responsibilities and importance of preserving the family legacy. And this would have ensured a smoother transition of power and stronger continuation of Michael's legacy and his empire, with his son being groomed from an early age to take over the family business, which at that time was being transitioned to something legitimate. The other thing is, Apollonia, the traditional mom, would have raised her daughter with traditional values, emphasizing the importance of family loyalty and respect for her father's authority. And this would have contrasted sharply with Kate and her modern feminist approach, which sought the distance from the family's criminal ties and ultimately led to a weakened structure. Now, here's what you need to understand, right? And I'm going to jump on this a little bit more. With Apollonia by his side, this traditional woman, this high-value man would have had a wife who not only supported his decisions, but also helped to solidify his power base. Her understanding of the importance of family loyalty and her unwavering support would have made Michael's position within the family and the larger organization even stronger. Contrast that by the moral judgments and eventual betrayal of that feminist. Apollonia would have stood by Michael through his challenges, reinforcing his authority, helping to maintain the unity of the strength of the family. Her traditional values would have resonated with the older generations who placed high value on loyalty and family and honor. Her presence would have been a reminder of the old ways, which would help keep the more traditional elements of the organization loyal to this high value man as he worked to modernize his family business and bring it out of the dark. Here's the thing. If this traditional woman had married this high value man, the upbringing and the moral compass of their children would have been vastly different from what they saw with their modern feminist mom. On one hand, you got a woman who adheres to traditional values, and her deep respect for family honor and a family's honor would have significantly shaped how their daughter and son were raised. Let's look at the daughter's behavior. The daughter was out there 304, wasn't she? But if she had had a traditional mom, she'd have been deeply rooted in Sicilian values. And that would have ensured that her daughter was brought up with a strong sense of family, honor, and moral discipline. In this context, the idea that the daughter was engaging in romantic relationships with her cousin, her first cousin, before marriage, not only is it the first cousin, but you out here 304 before you married. Mom was a virgin when she got when she got married, and you 304 with the most of with cousin penis. We saw that in The Godfather 3, and it was just unthinkable. And such behavior should have been strictly forbidden it would have been watched. First of all, do you see when Michael was taking Apollonia for a walk and the whole family was following behind him? Everybody was watching. More importantly, Apollonia would have instilled in her daughter that if you do something like that, you bring shame and dishonor to the family. Apollonia would have instilled that. This traditional wife would have instilled that in her daughter, the importance of chastity and respect and the sanctity of marriage. As a result, the daughter would have been more likely to follow the traditional path of courtship and marriage, upholding the family reputation and avoiding any actions that could bring scandal and disgrace. Remember, the reason that she got shot is because she wanted to stand in front of her daddy and question her daddy in public, just like her mama did, and end up taking a bullet in the back, right? So that whole scenario wouldn't have happened. Now, regarding this fruitcake son of theirs, which was unspoken but understood, Apollonia's influence would have ensured that he grew up with a deep respect for his father's wishes and the legacy of their family. Unlike Kay, who attempted to distance herself from the family, Apollonia would have fully supported Michael's desire for her son to pursue a legitimate career while still honoring the family's legacy. This high-value man wanted his son to be a high-value man. He wanted him to become a lawyer. And this traditional wife would have reinforced that expectation, guiding her son towards fulfilling her father's wishes. And the son would have understood the assignment. Somebody type, I understand the assignment. And the son would have understood that becoming a lawyer was not just about a respectable career. It was about positioning himself to protect and strengthen the family's interests from within the legal system. Somebody type legacy in the chat room. Apollonia's unwavering support for her man's authority would have instilled in their son a sense of duty, loyalty, and family. He would have been more likely to listen to his daddy and pursue the path laid out for him, knowing that it was the only way to secure his future, but also to honor and uphold the family's legacy. With a traditional woman as guidance for your son, he would have grown up and understood the importance of loyalty, duty, and respect for his father's wishes, ultimately becoming a strong and capable leader who could navigate both legal and criminal worlds to protect and advance the family's interests. Basically, this traditional woman would have made all them kids understand the assignment. Now, are y'all with me? If you with me, hit the #1 button. We're a little dry tonight. We're an hour in, only got 6 super chats. I'm gonna need about 4 super chats. 4 more. We're going for 30. We need 24 to get where we need to go. Now, here's the other thing I want y'all to understand. Here's some more things I need y'all to understand. And my throat is a little dry right now, man. I've been yelling at y'all all week, so y'all pray for Uncle D. I'm trying to get through this because this is an important series. It's very important. Everybody's telling you what you don't want. Nobody's telling you what you do, what you should have. I want you to have traditional wives. I want you to be happily married men. That's what I want for you. I want to see you ball, and I want to see after you ball, I want to see that maintained. That's right, Mark. Don't be cheap with Uncle D. Pay me. Somebody type pay me in the chat room. Somebody type pay me in the chat room. But let's get back to it. So what happens if this traditional woman had remained Michael's wife and the mother of his children? And her influence could have significantly altered not only the dynamics within the immediate family, but also the broader relationships with the Corleone family, including his relationship with his older brother, Fredo. Somebody type Fredo in the chat room. Y'all saw what happened to Fredo, right? Fredo got unalived on a boat because he betrayed Mike. I truly believe that they needed something to help strengthen the family unity after Vito passed away. And I believe that Apollonia's traditional values and strong emphasis on family honor would have reinforced the importance of unity, loyalty amongst the Corleone family. Now, I'm gonna bring, look now. I'm gonna bring this all home for you. And I'm gonna just go ahead and skip ahead. All you passport brothers, all you global kings, you're not overseas looking for hot girls. You can get them right here. You can go to Atlanta, you can go to New York, you can get them in LA, you can get them in Houston. They're all around. What you're looking for is traditional women with traditional values. Because deep down inside, you know the only way to save the Black community, brothers, is to bring back traditional values and have a strong emphasis on family and honor. And that would reinforce the importance of the unity that we used to have and the loyalty. Right now, Black folks can't stand each other. It's too much conflict. There's conflict in the house, conflict with the relationships. You need a traditional woman's presence because that's going to serve as a stabilizing force within the family. And it's going to encourage closer bonds between brothers and sisters and mothers and fathers. You need traditional women who understand the deep-rooted value of family and family ties in this culture. See, a traditional woman, you know, is likely going to encourage you to maintain more compassionate and understanding relationships with your children, with your mothers, with your fathers, with your brothers, with your sisters, irrespective of their shortcomings and weaknesses. That's why you brothers are traveling overseas. I know, that's why I was going. I had a good time, but I'm just keeping it real with you. And so you know innately that that's what you men need. The only way to save the Black community is to have an influx and an infusion of healthier culture that's based around family. Now, let's get back to the broadcast. Fredo's role in the family. In the film, Fredo portrayed he was weak. He wasn't as smart, he was less capable. And he often felt overshadowed and undervalued by his brother, Michael. With Apollonia and as Michael's wife, her nurturing influence would have surely encouraged Michael to find more suitable and respectable role for Fredo within the families. One that played Fredo's strengths without exposing his vulnerabilities. She would have been the voice reminding him of the importance of protecting family members, even when they falter rather than alienating them. I get that from my wife right now. Some of you all have noticed that Uncle D done calmed down a little bit. I'm spending more time with these kids, and she's the one that encouraged me to go ahead and continue to fight for my third son. I mean, I'm just saying, this is what good traditional women do. They inspire you to be more compassionate, more family oriented. It's a beautiful thing when it works. Traditional women, their goal is to keep the family together. And so what they're going to do is help mitigate the tensions that eventually lead to tragic betrayal and the fallout between, in this case, Michael and Fredo. What she would have done is foster a stronger sense of familial duty and respect within the family, and she might have prevented Fredo from feeling so marginalized and desperate for recognition, which ultimately led to him betraying Michael. For example, Apollonia might have advocated, a traditional woman might have advocated for more family gatherings and rituals that reinforced the bonds between brothers and ensuring that Fredo felt valued as part of the family rather than being relegated to the periphery. She probably would also counsel Michael to show more patience and empathy towards Fredo, acknowledging his insecurities and finding ways to include him in family success without putting him in a situation where he could be easily manipulated by outsiders. Look, some of y'all got some good women in y'all life, and irrespective of what you're doing, they're around there keeping up ties with your family. They keeping you posted of what's going on. They telling you about your nephew, your niece. They going by your mama house, bringing her a little plate. Even when y'all had a little tiff or falling out, she called your brother's wife, and your brother might not be talking to you at the time, but y'all, they still, so you hear them talking on the phone. A good word is passed through. Look, by reinforcing the importance of family bonds and encouraging this man to value and protect his family, brother specifically, a high value woman is going to play a crucial role in maintaining the integrity and cohesion of the family. And that ensures that each member, including the crackhead, somebody type crackhead in the chat room, including the crackhead family member, feel secure in their place within the family structure. This in turn could have prevented that tragic downfall that happened in this movie. I need 24 more super chats. And it also helped preserve the strength of the family as a whole. The other thing is, the other person in the movie, Connie, who's the sister. Remember her? She was getting whooped on by her husband. And Santino went and whooped him up. He had that orange suit on and whooped him up in that orange suit, had them all in the fire hydrant. Whooped them outside in front of the kids. I think if this traditional woman, Apollonia Vitelli Corleone, Michael's first wife, if she had remained Michael's wife, her influence would have also had a significant impact on the relationship with the sister Connie. How? She would have promoted family values and unity. I mean, I'm saying the same thing. Family values and unity. And that would have prioritized the importance of family unity and loyalty above all. She would have recognized the vital role that this sister, Connie, played in the Corleone family, and would have likely encouraged Michael to maintain a close and supportive relationship with his sister by promoting those values. Because at some point after Connie's husband was unalive, she started messing around with all sorts of men who nobody knew it. She was 304. But this traditional wife could have served as a mediator or a bridge between Michael and his sister, ensuring that the sibling bond remained strong, even during the difficult times. In the film, Connie struggles with the pressures of being part of the Corleone family, particularly after the death of her husband, Carlo, and later the increasing isolation she felt from Michael. Michael got cold on her. And as a traditional woman with a strong sense of duty to her family, she would have likely taken Connie under her wing and offered her some guidance and support. And Apollonia's influence could have provided Connie with the stability and reassurance she needed, helping her navigate her personal challenges without feeling alienated or abandoned by her family. Look, man, throughout this Godfather trilogy, there was tension between, it's tensions in your family right now. Some of y'all got family issues right now, don't you? Tell the truth. Huh? With her traditional families and emphasis on family cohesion could have helped to prevent their tensions from growing And she might encourage Michael to be more understanding and compassionate towards his sister. Recognize, shout out to my man Pilot Jace. This is a good ass broadcast. I'm doing great. Somebody type Uncle D's doing great. This is all kind of game. You just got to read it. This is above some people's levels. I'm not gonna lay it down there for everybody. Sometimes you got to get up to get it. You got to get above the rim on this one. I'm talking to you. You get a good woman in your life, a good traditional woman, she's going to see everything. She's going to see what the women around need. You're going to need those women. Your sister and your nieces and your daughters are going to be around there cooking for you when your sons are gone. They're going to be around there taking care of your old butt. So you need to be nice to them. Just like you women need to be nice to the men in your family. You need to keep them around, because you're going to need them for protection. And when you get a traditional woman like that, she's going to, number one, she's going to discourage the high value man from becoming overly controlling or too harsh with his sister. Women don't respond like that. She's going to promote more supportive and empathetic approach to the relationship. She'll go do it for you. She'll be your ambassador if you empower her to do that. Your woman is supposed to fill in all the gaps. Bam, bam, bam. You empower her to do that. My woman does that with my sons all the time. And she reports back to me, what's going on? Who's happy? Who's sad? Who needs what? Who's hungry? Who didn't eat? These traditional women they are 100% dedicated to the family. They foster open communication and mutual respect. And I feel as though in this particular movie and in many of your lives, if you got a good woman, they're going to play a crucial role in ensuring that the women and the men feel valued and included within the family, rather than estranged or marginalized. I truly think in this particular movie that, Connie would have felt more confident in inserting herself with the family, taking a role that aligned with her strengths. That's what this traditional woman could have done. She could have helped this other woman find a place in the family and contribute meaningfully without being overwhelmed. Now, I'm gonna need some more super chats. We need 23 more super chats. Y'all make that happen. Make it happen. Don't be cheap with Uncle D. I feel as though if Michael Corleone, and we're using him as an archetype for a high value man, if he had married a traditional woman instead of that modern feminist, his life and his reign as the Don would have likely been more akin to that of his father, Vito, who was a greater Don, a greater man, and ultimately happier and more fulfilled. That's just the truth. And some of you may disagree. But I'm saying that Vito, the dad, had a high value man. Vito, the dad, he had a traditional woman. He was a high value man. Apollonia and her traditional values and the stability she provided would have shaped him into the leader more like his father. You see? But the absence of this stability is what caused the downfall. Shout out to my man, Richard Sherman. Come on, let's get to 10 so I can win. We need 2 more. Let's go. How did this high value man rise? How did Vito Corleone go from being basically impoverished orphan in the street to rise to power to sustain? It wasn't just because he was cunning and strategic. It was because he had a stable and loving home life. His wife, Carmela Corleone, was the epitome of the traditional supportive spouse who provided Vito with a sanctuary from the chaos of his empire building. And this stability allowed Vito to maintain a clear mind and a strong moral compass, even as he navigated the dark world of this organized crime. His home was a place of love and respect and tradition, which reinforced his values and gave him the strength to lead his family and his organization with wisdom and compassion. He wasn't stressed out about what's going on at home. Some of y'all driving home and you arguing with your mind like, man, I don't want to go home. I want to go to the bar. I don't want to go home. I don't want to deal with my wife. You can't build an empire like that. Fellas, if you find yourself not wanting to go home because of the drama that your wife is bringing you or your woman is bringing, it's time to move on. You're not going to ever be able to fulfill your destiny with a woman like that. Look at Michael Corleone. He lacked the essential stabilizing force in his life. After Apollonia's traditional wife's death, he married this strong feminist whose modern feminist values clashed with the traditional world that he was trying to uphold. And her inability to fully accept and support his role as Don, as boss, coupled with her disrespectful but her moral judgments and her betrayal, created a rift in their marriage and left him isolated, distrustful, and increasingly paranoid. This is why this man ended up alienating himself from so many people and unalived his brother. He didn't have that strong, supportive woman at home, and his grip on power became tenuous and his decisions more and more ruthless because there was no compassion in this man's heart. Contrast Vito and Michael as Dons. Vito was not only a powerful Don, but he also was a beloved family man. He was respected by his peers. He was feared by his enemies. But at home, he was a loving father and a husband. His actions, both in his personal life and in his criminal dealings, were guided by a deep sense of duty to his family. He made decisions that, while often harsh, were always aimed at protecting and providing for his loved ones. Vito's home was a place of refuge and respect, and this foundation allowed him to build an empire that was not only powerful, but also enduring. He died surrounded by his family with no regrets, knowing that he had lived a life of purpose and loyalty. Shout out to Torre. I need 21 more super chats. Now, contrast that with Michael Corleone and his journey as Don. It was marked by increasing isolation, brutality, the absence of a stabilizing home life, something that Apollonia, his traditional wife, would have provided. Look. He was left to navigate this treacherous world of the mafia without a moral anchor. Somebody type moral anchor in the chat room. His father had that. As a result, Michael became more ruthless, more paranoid, and ultimately more alone. He made decisions that alienated him from his own family, including the cold-blooded killing of his own brother, his mother's son. Not to mention he killed his brother-in-law, whose child he was the godfather for, his sister's husband, and so many others. And each one of these cold-blooded acts further distanced Michael from the man his father had been. Again, Vito Corleone, a high-value man, died a loved and respected patriarch, having maintained the loyalty of his family and the respect of his community. Michael was a punk. All he did was exercise authority and mayhem. Nothing he actually did himself. He died alone, estranged from his children, estranged from his wife. Yeah, he was a high value man. He had money, he had power, but look at how he lived. You distance yourself and unalive the very family that you're supposed to protect. How is that even congruent? His relentless pursuit of power, untempered by the love and stability of a traditional wife, led him to betray the very values that his father held dear. Look, somebody type traditional wife in the chat room. Somebody type trad wife in the chat room, man. Come on now. Let's play the game. Come on now. I ain't moving till y'all start typing traditional wife in the chat. I ain't gonna play this game with y'all. Come on. Shout out to Torrey, Manual Arts alum. 87, yeah. 92, yeah. Come on. Come on, y'all. So here's the thing. I think if Apollonia had been by Michael's side, he'd become a Don more like his father. He'd have been a more balanced man. He'd have been a leader who wielded power with wisdom and compassion, who made decisions for the greater good of his family, and who maintained the loyalty and love of those closest to him. Instead of dying alone, consumed by regret and the weight of his own sins, Michael might have died as Vito did, respected, loved, and at peace with the life he lived. It's some tragic differences between these two high-value men. And it's not just in their actions as dons, as bosses, but in the support they receive from their wives. Vito's stable home life grounded in traditional values. Shout out to Breezy. Grounded in, I need 20 more super chats. Come on, y'all. But his home life was grounded in traditional values. And that allowed him to build a powerful and enduring empire, while Michael's lack of such stability led him down a path of isolation, paranoia, and ultimately destruction. It's a lot of men out there right now who are high-value men who would do well with a traditional wife. P. Diddy should have married that gal that he had all them kids by, who passed away a few years back. 50 Cent would be a lot calmer and a lot more successful if he had a traditional wife. And I'm just using stars that you all know. I understand why they don't want to get married. They want to protect their assets. But there's other ways to do that other than just not get married at all. Trust accounts, prenuptial agreements. There's a lot of different ways to do that. But to go a life without having that balance that comes from a traditional wife and a traditional home life, that's not good, brothers. And I don't care what they say. Las Vegas, man, Dennis is dropping heavy game. Yeah, I am, man. I don't know why y'all can't get I wish I could get paid. I wish y'all would show me some appreciation, man. I mean, golly. I'm telling you not only how to get wealth, I'm telling you how to hold on. Because what's the alternative? You're going to be by yourself, or you're going to be dealing with 3 old foes? You're going to put your manhood in something. You've got to, you're going to have sex with something. And I'm just giving you the best option so you don't destroy yourself. And nobody's going to talk to you like this. You got dudes on the internet telling you that you need to go hump plastic dolls or just have a bunch of kids. You don't want to watch them kids by yourself, man. You're going to have a surrogate mom, and then you got a surrogate mom in South America somewhere. You're going to bring that kid up here and watch that kid by yourself? No, man, you don't want to do that. Every now and then, you're going to want to have a beer somewhere. It's the nature of a man. Now, here's something else I'm going to hit y'all upside the head with. Michael Corleone's choice to marry Kay Adams, it wasn't just about love. It was influenced by deep social and racial dynamics that ultimately played a significant role in his downfall. Let me explain. Michael Corleone, an Italian American, was living in a world where racial and social hierarchies were often everything. This is post-war America. Anglo-Saxon Protestants like Kay Adams were often seen as the ideal representation of success and respectability. And that's what Michael wanted. Remember that? He was trying to get his business from this old world criminal enterprise to respectability. Somebody type respectability. Come on now. That's what many of y'all doing. You get these chicks with these European features and this long hair. You black dudes. Shout out to all the brothers. Brother, I love you, brothers, but I'm going to tell the truth on you. You know, I tell you brothers to marry women of African descent all the time. And I'm trying to help you deal with the psychosis that you're dealing with. Now, what happens when you choose, when we're going to talk about Michael Corleone, he chose Kay. And he was attempting to align himself with the social ideal, aspiring to rise above his status, his roots, and distance himself from his heritage and his family. Right? Is this starting to touch a nerve? Somebody type that nerve in the chat room. Let's get real. Michael's relationship with Kay wasn't just about love, it was about validation. By marrying an Anglo-Saxon white woman from a well-to-do, respected family, Mike was trying to prove his worth in society that often looked down on Italians and their descendants and other darker races. Think about it. His eagerness to impress Kay by boasting about his father's power and influence. When they first met, you just telling all the business, this woman could have been some kind of secret agent. But he was eager to boast about his father's power and influence. And he speaks to these, it speaks to these deep-seated needs for approval. Shout out to Torre. Yeah, I do protection plans for marriage. Hit me up, spurlingdennis@gmail.com. I'm going to let that run across the bottom. Yeah, I do help out tremendously with that. Y'all hit me up. Want to do a consultation, spurlingdennis@gmail.com. Yeah, on that specific subject. But let's get back to the broadcast. Y'all still with me? Y'all bored? Y'all bored? We talking about you right now, black man. Why you seek out these women with these European features? That stamp of approval, that validation. We're talking about you. It's clear, just like Michael, that many of you believe that marrying a woman, a non-black woman with non-traditional African-American features will elevate your status and align you with the mainstream that America considers better and superior. I'm telling you, it's the truth. You feel like you deserve it. Michael felt like he deserved it. He thought it went along with him being the status as a war hero. Remember they called him war hero? And that further complicated his identity. He was seen as a guy who has successfully assimilated into American society, earning accolades that placed him in high regard among Anglo-Saxon elite. Kay, as the quintessential American woman, represented the ultimate prize in his new identity. And he was trying to create for himself. Marrying Kay wasn't just about choosing a wife. It was about choosing an image of an ideal American life that could help him distance himself from his family's past. Here's what I want you to understand. At the end of the day, Apollonia was his second choice. Y'all remember that? He was dealing with Kay, had to leave New York. Apollonia was his second choice. The only reason he was dealing with Apollonia because he was in Sicily so long, he had to smash something. Them gals wasn't giving it up. He saw her, he wanted her. It's a good fit. practical man. But that was his second choice. So he wanted that hot girl. He wanted that firecracker. He wanted that modern woman. And he got everything he asked for. And that's the same that goes for y'all. See, the problem is Michael's desire to marry this woman was rooted in a fallacy, the belief that by marrying the ideal woman, he could somehow escape the darker aspects of his life. That woman represented the American dream, a vision of respectability and moral superiority that this man, like many of you all, desperately wanted to be part of. But this choice was flawed from the start. And it'd have been different if he had married a traditional Anglo-Saxon woman with values that aligned with his, but he was fundamentally at odds with this woman as far as his lifestyle and culture. And that inevitably led to conflict and disillusionment. And the reason he put up on the pedestal, because she was white, and he was Italian white. So he wasn't quite white. She was white, and he wasn't quite white. And we had that conversation about the other day. And so he was ready to set aside all her fallacies and shortcomings because she served a purpose. Now, let's talk about the need to prove yourself. It wasn't about her. It's about proving something to himself and to the world. He wanted to show that he could have it all. The power, the family, the empire, the respectability of a proper American life. But this need to prove himself is rooted in feelings of inferiority. And we always talk about white supremacy, but we never talk about black inferiority or the feelings thereof. When you look at your brothers and your sisters and you say negative things about them, that's a reflection of your internal inferiority, feelings of inferiority. It's not true. We know it's not true. Ostensibly, it's not true. But perception is reality. I need 8 more super chats. And what did it do? It calls for him to compromise what he otherwise his standards, and it cost him dearly. Look, Michael wasn't genuinely in love with Kay. It was about the pressures of racial and societal hierarchies, the desire for validation, and the pursuit of an ideal that was always out of reach. And by trying to align himself with the Anglo-Saxon elite through his marriage to Kay, Michael not only revealed his internal struggles with identity, but he also set a stage for his tragic downfall. And this choice is driven by the need to prove himself, to elevate his social status, ultimately led to a marriage filled with hypocrisy, betrayal, and moral conflict. It's a cautionary tale. And it highlights the danger of making life-altering decisions based on societal pressures and perceived racial hierarchies. And this goes both ways. Some of y'all are pressured to marry black women, and you don't have anything aligned with them at this time. The modern day African-American woman, for the most part, is strong, independent, and don't need a man. I ain't say that. They say that. And so you can't turn that into a traditional wife. That's why you guys are going overseas. So it's not about color, it's about culture. It's not about color, it's about culture. You need to find a woman culturally who's traditional if you want to maintain your wealth once you get it, your status once you get it, your power once you get it. Otherwise, you're going to fall into a trap. So you need to make sure that your choices are rooted in genuine connection that align with your values, not driven by the need to fit in to someone. Because some of y'all are dealing with black women that you don't have nothing in common with other than the fact that y'all have the same skin color. So for you men, who are up and coming. You high value men, you men who aspire to wealth and power and status. You can learn from Michael Corleone's choice of Kay Adams and the subsequent consequences. Number one, align your relationship with your values. Make sure that your wife shares and supports your core values and your mission. Somebody type my mission in the chat room. Because a mismatch of values, like between Michael, who's a traditional man, and Kay, who is a modern woman, can lead to constant conflict and undermine your goals. You can't change these women. You can't change them. Don't let the social pressure dictate your choices. Avoid making life-altering decisions based on societal expectations or the desire to fit into a particular social hierarchy. For many years, black men wouldn't date outside the race because you couldn't bring her to the cookout. You couldn't bring that white girl to the cookout. They might make an exception for a Latina if she was cool. They'd be eating them morning tacos. But you couldn't bring a white girl. You done went off to college to Nebraska. And where else did y'all go? You went off to Nebraska and Michigan and Syracuse. And you got all them beautiful women up there who treat you well. But you couldn't bring her back to Alabama and Kentucky. You couldn't bring her to the cookout down in Mississippi. And look, I tell brothers all the time, my preference is for you to marry and date women of African descent. But I'm just saying, if you got a traditional woman and she's good for the money, she's good for the power, she's good for the status, she's going to help you keep your legacy intact, man, you're making a mistake if you pass up for one of these hot girls. See, Michael's decision to marry this strong feminist was influenced by his desire to assimilate into the Anglo-Saxon society. So he dropped his standards for her. I don't want you to make that mistake, though. We're looking for traditional women, okay? If you can't find one that's of African descent, find you one if you want to have wealth. What's the point of getting one of these strong, independent women who are going to undermine your wealth, whatever color they are? Y'all follow me on that? Huh? It's nuanced. You need to marry a woman with some and it needs to be based on genuine mutual respect, not just social status or validation. Michael was trying to prove himself, and it backfired. The other thing is these hypocrites. You got to be cautious of these women who enjoy the benefits of your success while simultaneously condemning the means by which you achieve it. You could be a plumber. She liked the money. She liked the big house. You own the plumbing business, but she don't like the way you get your money. That's going to create a rift in the relationship. You need to also understand the cultural differences, recognize the cultural value differences that can be profound. That's going to impact your relationship. These two people had differing backgrounds, and he wasn't willing to conform to her, and she wasn't willing to conform to his for long. And so it deteriorated the relationship. Don't compromise your mission. Stay true to your mission and your purpose. I need 8 more super chats. Even in the face of pressure from your woman. This man in this particular situation, he had the type of business that this woman was totally against. And because of this woman's moral expectations, it was doomed from the start. Again, loyalty is non-negotiable. Demand loyalty and trustworthiness from your woman. This woman's ultimate betrayal of aborting this man's child was a devastating blow to his legacy and a clear sign that she was not aligned with his goals. Now, family, brothers, I'm going to take a quick break and I'm going to come back and I'm going to read these super chats. In the meantime, I'm going to need at least 8 more super chats. Y'all hit the number 1 button if you're up in here. Let me know you're here. I'll be right
Spurling
back.
Podcast, click your mouse pad. Yeah, we out back. Hit the like, hit subscribe. Don't just hate watch, cause we outside. Let them hate watch, go and play pop. We just lay back. He don't play that. We on playback. We on playback. We go way back. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D Podcast, bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. Black men, yeah, we earn something. Tune in, gotta learn something. Uncle D Podcast, bump it. Likes up, hit the sub button. This is Dennis Spurling Podcast. Don't just hate watch, hit subscribe and let them know we outside. Don't hold hate, donate. Super chat, cash app. Put something in the collection plate. Church.
I want y'all to make sure y'all hit the number 1 button. And we're going to kind of get back to what we like to do over here, man. I need y'all to check in at a certain point when it's time to check in. I need to check in it, to checking in to start happening again. We got to go ahead and get this algorithm pumping. All right, welcome back, welcome back. Shout out to everybody who contributed to the Super Chat, the Cash App, and the PayPal, man. I want to just thank you guys, man. I know it's a big sacrifice. Thank you guys so much for showing your appreciation in that regard. You special. You see what I'm saying? You're not just watching. You're not just hate watching. I know if you contribute, you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do that too. Okay, so guys, look, I want to give a big shout out to Hootsie. He said, Uncle D for the mat fee. Thank you so much, man. I went to jiu-jitsu 10 times last week. I've been going twice a day for about a week straight. Even when I was in Miami, I went to 2 different sessions. So I've had, oh my God, 10 hours of rolling. Most people do 1 or 2 hours a week. I did 10 and I went twice a day. So I am exhausted, if you guys can tell or not. But us to you, man. Thank you so much for the mat fee. Shout out to my man Thomas Dickinson dropping the tray. Yeah, I appreciate you dropping the tray, man. Dropping it in the tray, man. If you like this preaching, if you like what I'm doing, if you like me talking about money, how many other successful black men are gonna get here and tell you what you need to get paid? Nobody ever tells you how to get paid. They tell you to get paid, but they don't give you a blueprint. I'm helping you lay the foundation on which you can build a legacy for your children and your great-grandchildren, man. And I done built it from the ground up. And so I know where you're at and I know where you need to go. I'm helping you get in your mind right. I like what I'm doing right now. I'm really appreciative of what I'm doing. I'd like to keep doing this. I don't want to talk about Kamala Harris anymore. I don't want to talk about politics. I don't want to talk about how bad off the black community is. I want to see you ball. I want to see you fellas be rich. I want to see you be happy. I want to see you live the life I live. The only reason I came back to the United States, as I was sitting in my house in 2017, overlooking the ocean somewhere in the Caribbean, I felt bad that black men were going through what they had to go through. So I opened my Facebook page up and I just started letting brothers voice their opinions. And over and over and over again, brothers were saying the same thing. And I'm like, man, I can't just not say something. I know how to get to where they need to get. I'm not their leader, but I'm damn sure a pathfinder. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I don't want to rule over you. I just want to know I did my part to teach you brothers how to get from point A to point B. Point B being wealthy, successful, powerful, and with peace of mind. Because there's a lot of people out there that got money and they ain't happy. And I don't want you to be like that. I love doing what I'm doing, man. But if you all don't enjoy this, if you're not showing me you enjoy it, I don't have 500 people here. And that's okay. But if I can't even get 20 super chats, that means y'all not really enjoying this. And I'm telling you how to get money. Because see, the key to success in the black community and in black America, you got to have the money right. That's why when we were the engine, that we used to be, when we had all these thousands of black towns around the country, there was a concerted effort to knock those institutions down, knock those towns down, because that was generating money. Because if you want to overcome white supremacy, racism, you want to get fairness for black folks in the system, you're going to need some money, you're going to need some wealth, a lot more than we had, and that's going to take stability. They destroyed the institutions. They made us dependent upon them. They tricked our women into becoming these modern day feminists. And now brothers innately know we need to bring traditional marriages and families back. And that's what I'm giving y'all. I want to see you rich. Somebody type rich in the chat room. Somebody type rich in the chat room. I want to see you rich and powerful, successful, so you can make phone calls when somebody in your neighborhood that look like you or your community look like you to get shot. You can call the mayor and say, you better do something about it or you will not get another campaign contribution from me. And something will get done. That's how that works. But shout out to my man, Cody Marshall. Thank you so much. Glad that you're putting in some game. Appreciate you, fam. Who else we got? Hootie, these are some valuable lessons being laid down. Uncle D, the masterclass in session. I still need 6 more super chats. Shout out to Terrell Wellings. Thank you so much, fam. I appreciate you for the super sticker. Also, Lock Vegas 05. Good looking out, man. Thank you for the $1.99 super sticker. Pilot Jace. Good looking out, fam. Thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. Richard Freeman. Good looking out. Thank you for the $4.99. Tori. Thank you, Manual Arts 87. Salute D. Yeah, man. Class of 92, baby. Diamonds in the rough. Manual Arts High School. Yeah. Big shout out to Breezy. Thank you so much, fam. I appreciate that. Shout out to the Wrench Mob. Where all my Wrench Mob guys at? All my Wrench Mob guys, man. Hit the number 1 in the chat room. Let me know you got a wrench. Let me see here. My man Lock Vegas said, man, Dennis is dropping heavy game. You should make this an exclusive series. I'm doing the best I can. I might send this to the membership. But we'll see. I don't know. I like to keep it public, but I got some other good stuff over there. So my man said, Dennis, do you do counseling on how to set up the protection plan for marriage? Just hit me up, man. Just hit me up. I do that all the time. Help you get out of bad marriage, help you set yourself up. Hit me up, 713-229-0770. You can call me at the office. You can set up a consultation. I do charge. Don't try to get me to do something for free. That ain't right. Y'all already got me up here talking late at night for free. But anyway, y'all, hit me up, or you can email me at spurlingdennis@gmail.com. Shout out to my man Corey Valens for the collection plate. Good looking out, man. We ain't get 20. That would have been plenty. 30 would have been great, but I'm up too late. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing crack-a-lating. Bam. Brothers. Let me turn the music down. Turn the music down so I can get with y'all on your level. Yeah. All right, Breezy. Y'all see if y'all can give me 5 more super chats before I finish, because I'm going to leave y'all smoking. Check this out, baby. Check it out. I want y'all to listen up, because this is the harsh truth that every man who aspires wealth and power and status needs to understand. It doesn't come easy, and there's no guarantee that you're going to hold on to it. So if you're serious about climbing to the top and staying there, you got to be ruthless in your choices, especially when it comes to the woman you choose to stand by you. See, the difference between success and downfall often hinges on that one decision. Let me put it bluntly. If you make the wrong choice, you can lose everything you worked so hard to build. Look at the contrasting lives of the 2 of the most infamous figures in organized crime, Meyer Lansky and the likes of Rothstein and Bugsy Siegel. Lansky didn't just survive in the cutthroat world of organized crime, he thrived. And the reason I use that, because if you can survive in that business, where the business itself is dirty and ruthless, any business that you exist in other than that, it's going to be a cakewalk. So if the effect of a traditional wife can help these men last a lifetime and be wealthy and maintain their wealth, you know you can do it. See, one of the key reasons was this man's choice of a traditional, culturally aligned wife who understood the importance of discretion, loyalty, and respect for the family's legacy. And I'm talking about Lansky. Unlike Rothstein and Siegel, who were dragged down by their involvement with the wrong kind of women who didn't understand or respect the delicate balance between personal and professional life, Lansky's choice ensured that his home life remained a fortress, impenetrable to the chaos and risk of criminal empire. His wife wasn't just a partner, she was a bulwark. Someone who shared in his values, kept his secrets. Because you got some loudmouth women out there that put all your business in the street. She think you cheating, and before you even know what's going on, the whole family know that, oh, he cheating, and turns out it's a lie. But your business is out there. We getting audited by IRS. The whole world knows. All your personal business. She won't shut up. She can't keep a secret. She tell it on the mountaintop. And if you have a woman like that, you're not going to be able to focus on building your empire because there's going to be too many distractions. If you choose a woman who doesn't align with your values, who doesn't understand the importance of your mission, somebody type my mission in the chat room, or worse, who becomes a liability through her actions, you're setting yourself up for a disaster. Your enemies won't need to come after you. Your downfall will be orchestrated from within by the very person who should be your closest ally. So here's the warning. If you want to be a man of power, if you want to be a man of status, you must be uncompromising in your choice of a woman who understands and respects the boundaries between your business and personal life, who supports your mission. Somebody type my mission in the chat room, and does so without question. Who embodies the values you hold dear. This woman is not just an asset. Oh no. She's an essential to your success. Don't fall in the trap of choosing a woman who might look good on your arm, but doesn't have the depth, loyalty, or cultural alignment to truly stand by your side. The wrong choice could cost you everything, brothers. Learn from these lessons, from these movies. Learn from these men who you see get undermined because of their choices in women. And protect your legacy by choosing a woman who will elevate you, not who will drag you down into the abyss. Your success, your power, your very life could depend on it. We talked about Michael Corleone, and he's a fictitious character, but some of you are living this right now. Some of you are know men who are living this right now. Some of you know men who live that way, and they were undermined by these disloyal, untrustworthy, modern women who they chose for all the wrong reasons. Don't be that guy. You can thrive with a traditional wife, or you can endure chaos with a boss babe. Now you know the decision is yours. This is Uncle D. I'm out.
In the Spurling podcast.